Hi there. This is Rana Wright.
Hello, my name is Ranton Wright, and I want to talk to you today about a book. The book is called A Love Letter to Africville, and it's by Amanda Carvery, and the foreword is by Dr. Claudine Bonner. As you'll see, it has pictures of descendants or people that were from Africville, and then there's descendants as well that are featured in the book. Beautiful photography done by Amanda. I'm gonna read you guys a little section of the book, and this is I'm gonna actually be interviewing the person later on in this video. It's Elaine Carvery Wright. So it goes, I remember living with my grandmother before my mother got her own house. When we moved from my grandmother's house, we moved to the top of the hill, an area in Africville. In March, the winds were so strong. If I stood outside, I felt like I could fly. I would come home from school and see my mother hanging clothes outside on the clothesline to dry. It took all day to do the dishes. My mother and sister would tease me for taking so long, but I didn't care. I would sing away while I washed dishes. I would empty the dishwasher in bushes and sing to the bushes, pretending they were my audience. I would tell them, it's okay, you don't have to clap. We used to go swimming, and all the rocks had names. One was called the chair, because it was shaped like a chair, and another was called the big rock. We learned to swim by the shore first, and when we got better, we could swim out to the chair and play there. If you were a really good swimmer, you got to swim to the big rock, and that's when you were big time. You could dive and swim underwater. But I never made it to the big rock. I still had fun playing with jellyfish and didn't have a care in the world. We never even got stung. I lived dangerously in Africville, picking gems up on the train tracks. They were just rocks and sand pieces from the trains. But I'd say they were my diamonds. So much of my childhood was just playing and having fun. Well, that sounds quite delightful, doesn't it? So here's the pictures that were done of Elaine in the book. Sorry, I apologize for the reflective properties on the page from the light. But yeah, some beautiful pictures, some candid shots. Yeah, that was her story. And there are many other people in here, but I'm just highlighting her story because we are going to be speaking with her later on. So now you see we're joined with Elaine. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Well, of course, after reading your excellent write-up in Amanda's book, we definitely had to get an opportunity to get you in here to talk to us and let everyone know. It's definitely very touching. I do have a few questions for you. It shouldn't be too long of an interview. And I hope you're ready.
Yeah, hope so.
Elaine, please explain to us, how did you become involved in Amanda's book?
Well, I'm from Africville. She asked me if I'd participate in her book, and she said, let's set up a meeting. And we met in Africville at the Africville Museum in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And we chatted, and we brought back memories, and we had like a nice time in remembering things from Africville, and even things that I've forgotten came back to me. And I said, sure, Amanda, I would love to take part in your book.
And you would say it was a great experience?
Oh, for sure, yeah, it was, yes.
You were born in Africville, correct?
Yes.
And you lived there until what age?
15.
So tell me about your early days of living in Africville. What was it like?
It was nice, normal. I lived with my family. It was like getting up every day and pretty much going out to play and being with my friends and neighbors. And I enjoyed, the fact that I knew everyone in my neighborhood, and we were just all family.
And you mentioned in the book that you lived with your grandmother initially. Who else lived there?
I lived at my grandmother's house. Well, at that time I was an infant, and my grandmother died shortly after that. And we lived there till I was about 5. and then we moved to what we called Up the Hill.
And what was up the hill?
It was just a hill that another level of Africville. Like, we lived right on the area that we call Barrington Street. My grandparents' house was on the area that we call Barrington Street. Then we moved a level up up the hill, and then I was about 5, and I can remember moving there, and that was an exciting day for me, moving. And shortly after that, I think after that, that's when I started school after we moved.
And what was so exciting about moving?
Just new house and getting new furniture, and it just was different, something different, and just a change.
So tell me about your mother. What was she like?
Well, she was kind, loving, caring, and she was a great mother.
What was her name?
Myrtle Carvery.
And your mother is now passed away?
Yes.
And when did she pass away?
36 years ago.
Do you remember what you were doing in that moment when you found out?
Yeah, I was home. When she was in the hospital, we spent our evenings and mornings at the hospital, and we just came home for a rest. And then I think it was my niece that called me and said that Mom was gone. And so my husband and I, we rushed to the bed and got ready to go to the hospital to see my mother. Yeah, it was sad.
I'm sorry to hear that. She sounds like an amazing person.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
In Amanda's book, you spoke about swimming. So you learned to swim at a young age?
For an Africville person, it wasn't a young age. I was old, actually.
How old were you?
I was like, I'll say I was like 9 or 10. And usually, like, the children from Africville, like, we took the water like fish. But I was a little slow at it. Some of my other friends, we started out together, but they made it to the chair, and I was still on the shore.
Explain what the chair was.
That was a rock that was shaped like a chair, and the kids jumped off that rock and sometimes dove off. It depended on if the tide wasn't high enough, you could dive, but a little bit. But I do belly flops for it.
Explain what are some other activities you enjoyed doing when you were a kid in Africville.
We played hide and seek was fun. We did that, and the water fights were really good. We liked having water fights, and making mud pies and going to the bushes and picking blueberries and then wild pears. It was fun. And we used to roll tires down the street or through the neighborhood, seeing whose tire would go the fastest and the furthest. One of my friends, he played the guitar, and we would get together down near Barrington Street, and he would play the guitar, and a bunch of kids, we'd get there, he would play and we would sing. And that was fun. We had fun doing that.
That does sound fun. And tell me a little about the food in Africville.
Well, usually, during the week, I ate like regular, but one Sunday it would be a roast. The next Sunday it would be a boiled dinner. Yeah.
And you guys ate dinner as a family?
Usually, but sometimes if we're playing and we're occupied with our friends, and sometimes you didn't have to worry about going home for dinner, or you go home. Sometimes you had dinner with your friend's family, and if you were playing with someone, you just and they were serving up dinner or supper, and we just ate together, ate with them. I would eat with my friends or whatever.
And what were the holidays like concerning food?
Good. There was lots of food, treats.
What did you guys eat?
Baking. Depends on, usually like Christmas, turkey, Easter, ham, Thanksgiving, turkey, mashed potatoes and squash and turnip and all the dressings and chow. Back then, cranberries, that was usually homemade.
Yum, I'm getting hungry now just thinking about it.
Me too.
So a big part of Africville was the sense of community, the sense of safety.
Right, yes.
Of living around your family, everyone knowing each other.
Right, yes. Yeah.
So how would you compare that to where you live now?
Oh my, it's drastic difference. neighbors move in and out, and you don't get to know your neighbors. Sometimes they speak. And I find also that if I see a neighbor at the grocery store at the mall, I don't recognize them because I only just see them like cross the street or cross the driveway. So seeing them up closer in a different environment, you barely recognize them. People are so mobile that there's just a few people that's been in the neighborhood as long as I've been here. So people are really transient.
So you would say there isn't really much of a sense of community?
No, not really, yeah. But
and neighbors aren't generally that close? Like they're nice to each other, but not close?
Yeah, they're nice. Everyone's nice and speaks. And sometimes in the winter, a neighbor will come with their snowblower and help us out or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's when I find in the winter, that's when most of the time you get to see your neighbors because everyone's out shoveling snow.
And someone like me who didn't get to grow up in a community like Africville, do you think I could have benefited from such an experience?
Oh, for sure, yes. Yep. And the biggest part is knowing your relatives. Now these days, people don't know their relatives. There's relatives that you haven't even met, like nieces and nephews. Some of them, their children, you haven't met them. If you saw them, you wouldn't know them. And your family is like scattered, and friends that people I grew up with. I thought I'd always be around them my whole life. And now I don't. Some of them I don't ever see. Some I see once a year at the reunion, and it's really different, and you really miss people.
And how do you feel since COVID that the reunion hasn't been happening?
I feel a great sense of loss because that was my highlight of the year. So I really miss that. I miss seeing everyone.
I have a few questions that popped into my head after reading Amanda's book. So there's just some things I'm personally interested in. Can you tell me about what is Big Town? Or what was Big Town?
That was just like sections of Africville. We didn't have like street names, but we have like area names. So if you say I was in Big Town, you would know who lived there in that area. You would know what part of Africville you were in.
And as for a group called the Raindrops, can you tell me who they were?
They were a group of young guys that got together and formed a group, and they were really talented. And they did good.
What's a gramophone?
That would be a record player with the thing shaped like a horn, the needle on it was shaped something like a horn.
Oh, I can picture it from like a movie. Did you wind it or anything? How did it play? Was it plugged in?
One of them was plugged in. Some of them were the wind-up ones. And I remember when my aunt and uncle had one, and it was really fun. We used to have that was the wind-up one, and we used to have yard dances. And that was quite fun. That was a lot of fun. Everyone getting together and out in my aunt and uncle's yard, dancing and having a good time.
So here we see a feature of you in a free local publication called The Coast. Tell us what this was about and how you ended up getting involved.
That was at an Africville reunion, and people from different newspapers and reporters, usually every year this happens, that they come about interviewing people, taking pictures and questioning them. I don't remember, it's been a long time, but I don't remember being interviewed. Like, people would just take your pictures, and like being on Africville, your picture could show up anywhere. It was like sometimes your pictures were taken, people would take your picture and you didn't know your picture was being taken. And then you could see it in a post or different papers or whatever.
But as for this paper in The Coast, you were or were not aware that they were going to put your picture in it?
No, it was a surprise. A lot of times you see yourself, when that happens, you're surprised.
And how does that make you feel? You're happy to see yourself?
I'm happy that Africville is being made aware of, and that people know that we still exist. We're still here. You
lived in Africville when it was torn down, yes or no?
Yes, I did.
And what was it like seeing your community torn down?
It was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was hurtful. And my friends were leaving, and we were one of the last families to leave, and that was like, and then after a while it was, you couldn't go out, after dark you couldn't go out, and for some reason the city, they took all the lights, power from the street lights, and they took those out, and so we were like, when the sun went down and it got dark, we were in total darkness, other than that what was in your house, and there wasn't many neighbors, so you couldn't go anywhere, you wouldn't go out, you know, wasn't very many places to go anyway, only a few people were there, so when the sun went down, you were there, you were in the dark, and if you had to go into the city, you had to be home before it got dark, because it was like you couldn't see your hand before you if you were walking down the hill or walking to your house.
You may not find your way home.
Oh my God, that was, when I think about that right now, it's scary.
And what was going through your mind initially when you found out you had to move? Do you remember?
Well, at that point, I was like being a teenager. Yeah, I didn't realize the situation, what was happening, but I was like kind of excited to join my friends and family that I had already moved from Africville. So I was looking forward to living near them and being able to be around them whenever I wanted to.
In your opinion, what do you believe would constitute retribution for what was done to the community of Africville and its people?
My opinion, the least that would compensate us would be a house for a house. That's the least, I believe that would be the least that they could do for us, but there's lots more that could be done. But I feel like we were denied in our inheritance that was stolen from us, because I really feel that we were robbed of what our future could be right now, because we had to settle for what the city said, what they gave us.
Oh, most definitely. The people of Africville were definitely robbed.
Yeah.
And definitely nothing has been done to make that right. They have done a few things to try to make it right. What's your opinion on the replica of the church? Did that make anything right?
No. I don't feel it made anything right.
So who was that to benefit? Who do you think?
No one that I know of, unless, because it's so small that you can hold events in it, big events, and it's, wow. To me, it's just, that was like a waste of money, actually, because I think we should have had a big venue, a place a church that you could go to and have church, or a place where you could go and have weddings and celebrations. Like, so when we go to the reunions, we still have to set up a big tent so that everyone can go in and have church. To have church, we have to set up a tent, because you can't fit enough. Well, only like, I don't know if you can get 25, 35 people in that comfortably in there, and so I feel like it may benefit a few people, but the majority, no.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Elaine. Definitely appreciate it. It was great talking to you. You really came with a lot of insight. I feel like I know a lot more about Africville now. I hope the viewers you enjoyed talking to Elaine as much as I did. Definitely we'll have to do this again, and we'll have to do a follow-up.
Sure, I would love to.
And I hope to see you featured in more books, or I'm looking forward to your own books coming out at some point.
Oh, that would be nice. I thought about that many times.
Well, I definitely think it's something you should do. I feel your story is one that people would want to listen to. But again, thanks so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And I really enjoyed the opportunity that you allowed me to interview you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you doing this.
Elaine, do you mind if I give you a hug?
No problem.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Elaine, I really appreciate you letting me interview you, Mom. Thank you for watching, and please don't fight hate with more hate. You accomplish more with love. Take care. You were born in Africa.
Yeah.
But